The sky over Arkansas was dull and cloud-heavy, the kind of muted gray that seemed to settle on the shoulders like an unexpected weight. Joseph Duggar stepped outside onto the porch of his home, the boards creaking beneath him. He inhaled a slow breath, trying to push the heaviness from his chest. It didn't work. Nothing had worked for weeks. Inside, the soft chatter of children floated through the hallway. Giggles, footsteps, little voices full of innocence. It should have brought him comfort. It usually did. But today, the sound almost deepened the ache he was trying so hard to ignore. Kendra Caldwell, his wife, was sitting at the kitchen table, hands gently wrapped around a mug she hadn't taken a sip from in over 20 minutes. Her eyes stared into the steam swirling above the cup, soft, distant, thoughtful. This wasn't a story about tragedy. It wasn't a story about scandal. But it was a story about two people fighting an emotional battle in silence. A battle called growing apart without meaning to. A quiet distance. Over the past year, Joseph and Kendra had stepped into new roles, more responsibilities at home, more commitments, and more weight on their shoulders. It wasn't one moment that had changed things. It wasn't a fight, not a single disagreement. It was the slow drift, the kind that creeps in quietly while life keeps moving. Joseph often returned home exhausted, pulled in every direction. Kendra often felt overwhelmed, stretched thin between motherhood and trying to hold the household together. They still loved each other fiercely, but love, even strong love, sometimes becomes quiet, too quiet, and they both felt the silence growing between them. The forgotten letter. One evening, while putting away laundry, Kendra found something unexpected. Hidden beneath a folded sweater in Joseph's drawer was a letter. Handwritten, sealed, and unopened. Her breath caught. Her heart raced. It wasn't addressed to her. It was addressed to him by Joseph's younger sister. A letter she had written months earlier. A letter that Joseph had never opened. A letter titled, "Please read this when you feel lost." Kendra felt a sting of emotion. Lost? Was Joseph struggling? Did he feel something he hadn't told her? She wasn't hurt. She wasn't angry. She was scared. Scared that she had missed the signs. She gently set the letter on the table, knowing he would see it when he returned home. But she couldn't stop her mind from sinking into the unknown. Joseph's secret weight. Joseph saw the letter the moment he walked in. His shoulders lowered, not out of disappointment, but out of the emotional weight he had been hiding. "It wasn't a secret," he said softly, taking the seat across from her. "What's going on, Joe?" she whispered. For a moment, he didn't speak. Then he confessed the truth he had carried alone. The heartbreaking confession. "I feel like I'm failing," he said, voice trembling. "As a husband, as a dad, as a son, I keep trying to do everything right, but I feel like I'm slipping through the cracks." Kendra's eyes filled instantly. This wasn't the dramatic tragedy people expected. This was real life. The quiet heartbreak of someone who felt like they weren't enough. "I didn't want to burden you," Joseph continued. "You're already carrying so much." "Oh, Joe," Kendra whispered, her voice breaking. "You're my husband. You're not a burden." Tears they'd both been holding back for weeks finally surfaced. Not loud tears, but soft, quiet ones, shaped by exhaustion and love. They reached across the table, their hands finding each other like they always used to, and for the first time in months, they truly saw one another. The letter. Joseph finally opened the letter. It was simple, soft, encouraging. His sister had written about seasons of doubt, seasons of pressure, and how important it was to lean on those closest to you instead of pushing them away. Kendra listened as Joseph read each line, and with every word, the distance between them shrank. A turning point. That night, after the children were asleep, Joseph and Kendra sat together on their living room floor, surrounded by old family photos and memories. They laughed, they cried, they talked for hours about the pressure, the weight, the fear, the love. It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't explosive, it wasn't tragic, but it was heartbreaking in the most human way. Because sometimes the saddest news isn't about loss. It's about realizing how close you came to losing connection with the person who means the most. Rebuilding gently. Over the next few weeks, Joseph and Kendra made changes, small, intentional ones. Evening walks, unrushed conversations, quiet prayers together, moments of laughter they had forgotten they needed. And slowly, beautifully, the warmth returned. Not because their life became easy, but because they decided to face the hard parts together. A soft ending. This fictional what-if story doesn't end with dramatic tragedy. It ends with something more powerful. A family strengthened. A marriage rebuilt. A bond rediscovered. Because sometimes the saddest news is simply realizing how long pain was carried in silence. And the most beautiful ending is choosing to walk out of that silence as one.